Okay, we're back. We've been cruising around, doing things, getting things together, making things happen. Things. Well, we're back. Hopefully you'll start listening, watching us again. I'm not going to be able to do it every day, but I'm traveling a lot, but we may be able to do it most days of the week. And unfortunately, what we're going to be talking about is going to be repetitive. Ukraine, foreign policy. It doesn't stop. Last time we taped, and way back when we wrote our blog, well before the election, the presidential election, we said, man, does the president really want to be the president the second term? Because second terms go bad or poorly, and foreign policy is going to be a real problem. We talked about the black swan year and a half before that election. We wrote about it. And it's here, but it's just getting bigger and bigger. It's not a black swan. It's really become who knows what. Foreign policy is in tatters. The president has done a horrible job in foreign policy. We love the president. We voted for the president. He's smart. He's happening. But his foreign policy absolutely stinks. There's a vacuum out there. The United States steps back and all the bad guys jump in. And the bad guys. Let's forget this moral equivalence stuff. Let's look at what's really happening. Let's look at the Ukraine. Putin, when we last left, he had taken over Crimea and was moving into eastern Ukraine. We were talking about that. He did it, but he did it smartly. Man's no dummy. The man's smart. He's a smart bully who pushes his weight around until he gets pushed back a little bit. Maybe somebody will have to put a shirt on him one day. But he's walking around. He's happening. So instead of now invading eastern Ukraine, he goes in and takes control of Donetsk by sending over his missiles and his troops and his money and his problems and his thugs. And he gets the thugs in Ukraine in there to help in eastern Ukraine. Then they shoot down Putin's thugs. His thugs shoot down this passenger plane over Ukraine. There's Clay, she's back. And then blames Ukraine by saying, well, you're not taking care of that area. How can you take care of that area, Mr. Putin, when you send your thugs in there and your missiles and your weapons and your army to do what it takes to take control of eastern Ukraine? Without admitting that you're doing it. Lying, saying that maybe somebody shot a missile up in the air to shoot your plane down. Jive, propaganda, lies. And what happens? It's what we said, gosh knows how long ago. President goes, tut. No. And what does that do? It does nothing. If the president was a professor and he gave everybody A's but kept going no, who would care? He's got to give C's, D's, F's. That's what you got to have done here. Ukraine is our friend. Ukraine made a decision. It had a democratic election, which it's had for many occasions. Even though they've had problems with corruption, they've worked their way through it. This last election was real, and Ukraine decided that they wanted to make a deal with the West. So what's wrong with that? Why does Russia care about the near abroad so much? They think Ukraine's going to invade Russia. So Russia gets angry, starts ratcheting up costs on gas, tries to shut Ukraine down, shoots down a passenger plane. Who cares who pulled the trigger? This was Russia. Russia did it. Their people, their thugs, their weapons. We've got pictures, we've got tapes, we've got it all. And we do nothing. And Europe doesn't do much of anything either. But Europe hasn't done much since World War II. Maybe it's for the best. The problem is that we're doing nothing. So our friends, once again, back off, and go, how can we trust this guy? How can we trust America? We can't trust the president. The president came in and said he was going to turn our foreign policy around 180%. Well, he sure did that. And it's gone from bad to worse. This makes President Bush's move into Iraq look like nothing. At least he turned it around, and we were in a much better position in Iraq. Now what do we have? ISIS? That's like a stock. I think used to be a pharmaceutical stock. ISIS? We pulled out of Iraq, which which we had to do, but we should have kept some troops there. We should have kept our influence there, like we've done in Afghanistan, so we have a hand in what's going on in the election and helping them work through it. Secretary of State's done an excellent job so far, helping Afghanistan work through their presidential election. But we pulled out, so now we have the caliphate, the Nazi caliphate, where they're taking Christians and other minorities' homes and taking essentially the deeds to them, taking possession of them, throwing the people out, telling them they're going to tax them. How's this any different than the 30s in Nazi Germany? And where are we? Nowhere. President always tries to cast it in black or white. It doesn't work that way. We don't have to send troops into Ukraine. We don't have to send troops into the Middle East. All we have to do is back our friends. What would be wrong in Ukraine if we sent weapons? The Ukrainians would have defended themselves. Putin says, hey, the passenger plane got shot down because Ukraine doesn't take care of that part of the country. Well, let's give them the weapons so they can. Let's call their bluff because Ukraine wants to fight. They want to fight. They want to protect their territorial integrity, just like we would. Let's give them the means to do it. Then let's see what Putin does. Is Putin then going to invade Ukraine? I'm not so sure he would do that because he wouldn't be sure about what President Obama would do because it would change the way the formula, the supposed chess master, Mr. Putin. He's no dummy. He knows what he's doing. He's going with it. But he's betting hard that the President Obama is going to keep finding the same way to move forward to do nothing. President Obama did something big that would be big in this situation by sending in arms and letting the Ukrainians defend themselves. I'm really not sure what President Putin would do. President Thug Putin, Dictator Putin. People love him because his propaganda is Russian networks put out to everybody. Why don't we do that, Mr. President? Let's back our friends. Let's help our friends. If they want to fight, let's help them fight. If they want to defend themselves, let's let them defend themselves and let's help them defend themselves. Because 2016 comes around and things are just going to get worse and worse and worse. We just got to hope it doesn't get so bad that when President Obama is still commander-in-chief, that things aren't that bad at that time, because I don't know what would happen, because he would have to be reacting. He's Mr. Reaction. Be reacted. A reaction doesn't work here. You got to be proactive. You got to be thinking ahead. You got to be thinking 3 steps ahead. If this happens, that happens. If I do this, they do that, then I'll do this. But if you're going to be reacting, you're going to get handled. And in 2016, when things are really bad, we're going to have a new president. We're going to have a real foreign policy blow up. People don't see it. They all think, oh, let's stay over here. Let's all listen to Rand Paul and everybody. Let's all be isolationists. Look at history. It doesn't work. History never repeats totally, but it rhymes. Mr. President, you got to stand up. We know you're not going to, but you got to stand up. Ukraine is entitled to weapons. Ukraine is entitled to defend themselves. Ukraine is entitled to have their friends back them up. Just the way the thugs in eastern Ukraine and Crimea had their, call them friends, back them up. But we shouldn't do it that way. We do it right. Let them fight. Let's stand up for our friends. It's not going to happen. Foreign policy is just going to keep going down the drain. That's all we're going to be talking about. And it's going to be sad when things get real bad. But they always turn around. The only question is how bad it's going to be first. Peace.